assess, for example, the role of the stem cell niche or the role of the microenvironment in health and the proliferative potential of stem cells. I think it was more just a case of finding ways to actually study that thing in a way that could characterize it well enough to turn it into ideas for intervention. Also, of course, there have been very major advances, such as, well, the main one, of course, being the identification of what we make adult cells from embryonic stem cells, but again, the induced pluripotent stem cell concept. But that's really something that enables, makes it easier that it's still basic science, not really yet to what we can to the clinic.
Okay. And I just want to pause just for a second to remind everyone with what we're talking about here in the interview. If you do have a question for Aubrey, you can ask it in the text chat, and we'll be watching that for pertinent questions here during the interview, and we can get to those questions, perhaps something about what is going on with the SENS Foundation research, or perhaps even with the Methuselah Foundation undergraduate research initiative. And now I have heard, although I don't know if it's been official, that MFURI will become the SENS Foundation undergraduate research initiative. Is that true, Aubrey?
Yes, that's correct.
And someone asked prior to the show tonight, what are your thoughts of the undergraduate research initiative so far? Has it provided the bang for the buck that you hope for? Basically, slave labor, undergraduates, right? Working on some interesting research, or at least laying some foundations. What's your impression so far? Okay, Aubrey, I'm just letting Aubrey know. Yeah, Aubrey's audio for some reason got a little bit choppy there, so I just turned it off for a second. Aubrey, I take it you might be able to hear me now. I'm going to bring your audio back up to see how it sounds. If you could start again on the undergraduate. Well, tell you what, I'm going to have to end the call right now and call him right back and see if we can get a better connection here. You know, I have a suspicion that my computer tonight is doing a Microsoft Vista upgrade. All right, you're back, and now you are sounding loud and clear once again. Sometimes that Skype connection, it breaks up a little bit. But again, if you can indulge us with your thoughts about the undergraduate research initiative.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how the research, the undergraduate initiative has gone. I think Kelsey Moody deserves an enormous amount of praise for his achievement in putting it together, and also the achievements of his major lieutenants that have helped him to do it, Stuart Camport and Aaron Stapple and maybe one or two other people. It's really definitely providing bang for the buck. The main thing that it's doing is it's giving undergraduates great orientation in how to think about the problem of aging in a manner that focuses on intervention. So, for example, probably 80 or 90% of the projects that undergraduates are being given are just literature reviews. They're not actually doing new experiments, but they're producing proper reviews of particular areas of biology, including especially areas that have sometimes been quite neglected by more senior academics. And the result has been, well, it's already being, that first of all these undergraduates are learning a great deal and learning how to think in a way that will help them to be very useful later on, but also they're actually generating useful publications that will help senior scientists to understand these problems better. So I'm absolutely delighted by that. And of course a few of the projects that are happening are genuine research projects, and I know that Kelsey and his team want that to improve and increase, and I'm sure it will. It's very nearly slave labour, as you say. These people are doing this for virtually no money. And of course there is support from the institutions in the US where this happens. So I'm very happy about it all.
Okay, I see someone asked a question about Cuervo's CMA, or chaperone-mediated autophagy. and reversing.
Yeah, that was a fantastic result.
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a fantastic result.
Wasn't it though?
Anna Maria, am I coming through okay still?
Yep, you sure are. Go ahead. Speak on that question.
Okay. Yeah, Anna Maria is a great friend of mine and a really fantastic scientist, and she really, excelled all her previous work with this particular study. Now, of course, autophagy is not the whole answer to breaking down things in the cell that we don't want. Autophagy is about delivering things from the cytoplasm into the lysosome, and chaperone-mediated autophagy is no different. It's just one of those routes. So if the stuff is not getting broken down when it gets there, then you're still going to be screwed. But if you can deliver it more efficiently, then you can at least delay the degree to which you're screwed at a particular age. And essentially the reason why this particular approach of Anna Maria's worked so well, especially in the liver, was because it was essentially accelerating delivery of certain important things that were just slowing cells down, so to speak. That's my interpretation anyway.
So so it wasn't that autophagy was all of a sudden made perfect and the cells could digest every bit of junk and everything that was accumulating, but just that chaperones were operating more efficiently, bringing.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And of course that can have an effect on the overall rate of accumulation of indigestible material in the lysosome, because sometimes a molecule, let's say a protein that might be transferred by chaperone-mediated autophagy, will be in danger of becoming oxidized, and the more oxidized it gets before it gets to the lysosome, the more difficult it may be for the lysosome to break it down when it gets there.
Right.
So the more efficient CMA is, the better the overall effect may be.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully that answered some of the questions. And someone asked about wilt once again, which is something as well that has been a little bit contentious, I would say, as it is a rather ambitious intervention for cancer therapy. And someone asked about Cuervo's telomerase apoptosis.
Yeah, I'm quite sure that whoever asked this does not mean Cuervo, because Cuervo doesn't work on telomerase.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's right.
But that's okay. I probably ought to emphasize that wilt is very much a backstop. I think that if we get it working, it will really defeat cancer. But no one would be happier than me if someone comes along with something simpler that also defeats cancer.
Sure.
And the problem is that we have thought for the last 35 years that we were on the verge of doing exactly that, and we've been wrong an awful lot. And I prefer not to be wrong any more often than necessary.
Right, yeah, and it does seem that there is quite a bit of money, quite a bit of research going toward cancer therapies, many new nanotech interventions, and of course we talked briefly about Zheng Jui's cancer.
And I wish them luck. Of course, if you go back to the programs of the conferences I've run over the years, you'll see that I always have a lot of speakers who are working on approaches to cancer that have nothing to do with wilt.
Oh, certainly, yes, I've noticed that as well. Will you at SENS 4 coming up in September? Will there be another? Do you know? Are there any cancer papers being presented?
For sure.
Oh,
yeah, the program's up. If you haven't looked at it yet, then shame on you.
Yeah, and you know what? That reminds me, takes me back to SENS 3 and a very provocative speech was given, a presentation by Dr. Michael Rose, University of California, Irvine. And we did have him on the show late last year, as well as a couple other evolutionary biologists. And they were quite adamant. They were quite adamant that we could achieve robust rejuvenation through mainly genetic manipulation. That aging was in part or largely a programmed event that occurs in humans. And Dr. Rose said he did have a lengthy conversation, email correspondence with you about it, where you talked in depth about many mathematical formulations proving whether or not whether aging is a rate of accumulation of damage or whether or not it was actually biologically or evolutionary programmed. Anything lately on that with your correspondence with Dr. Rose, or have any of the evolutionary biologists been